We're talking wicking beds today on Pots and Trowels, and that's brought to you with the support of Cobra Garden and King Seeds. We're in the Adelaide Hills today in South Australia, and we've come to look at this wonderful vegetable garden and a quite unique way of growing all sorts of plants in wicking beds. And we've been invited into the garden by Claire and Mark, who do this for a business. So hello you two, and thank you for inviting us along to see you.
Very good to see you, man.
So the vegetable garden is looking amazing. I mean, this is the height of your summer. Everything's lush at this time of year, but it gets very hot here. So I'm surprised how everything looks so good.
Oh, secret's underneath the soil, man.
Is that it? Well, that's what they say. It's always in the soil. So everything is being grown here in raised beds.
Yes.
But they're not ordinary raised beds, are they? These are raised beds with a difference.
These are all wicking beds, or self-watering beds.
Okay. So wicking as in, I suppose, wicking upwards, like a wick on a paraffin heater that sucks the moisture
Absolutely.
up.
Yeah, it's just the water that is in a reservoir underneath the soil and it travels up through the soil.
Okay.
So instead of watering from the top, we're having the water come from underneath.
Okay, and that obviously then gives that constant supply of water to the plants.
It's a perfect moisture content in the soil all the time. So the
Okay.
plants aren't looking for water. So even if it's 40 degrees, they've got access to water, and I'm not out here watering.
Right,
at 40
which
degrees.
you'd have to do a lot, wouldn't you? So how did you stumble on this system? Because you've also developed it quite a bit as well, haven't you, I think?
I did. I guess I wanted to get my garden ready for the older years, so I was looking at a raised garden bed in the first place, and then I stumbled across this idea of a wicking bed. And then, like a lot of Australians, found the Sophie Thompson YouTube videos, which explained to us how to start building them. And so my first lot sort of started like that. Mm-hmm. And then being a research scientist, I couldn't help but experiment and play around. And then about 7 years ago, discovered the water ups system. So
Right.
an Australian designed wicking system. So everything in here is based around that product.
Which there is one just here. So this is a water ups, isn't it? So this is what is essentially in the base of all of these containers.
Yep.
Yeah. And you've developed this into a business, haven't you? I mean, it is from what started off as just growing your own fruit and veg, you've now turned this into a business, which you're both part of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how does that work? Where do you install these, Claire? Are these for private clients or anybody that wants them?
Private clients, we have a lot of schools, childcare centres, community gardens, a big base for us as well.
Yeah.
Anyone who wants a garden bed, really.
Yeah. And I suppose the good thing about this in a community garden, which is great to do community gardens because it encourages lots of people to want to grow, but it makes it easier for them because if you've got community gardens, they've got to rely on somebody watering where this is doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
And schools as well, when they close for the summer holidays,
Yes.
they don't want to have to keep sending teachers or ground staff back to the school to fill up.
Exactly,
Or
yeah.
constantly irrigate the
Yeah.
veggie patch. So these things just help them sort of extend that irrigation period.
yeah, I think it's absolutely brilliant. We're involved with the Great Yorkshire Show in England, which is a big agricultural and gardening show. And we have a competition where children bring in their veggie boxes in a similar sort of thing to this, just full of compost. But they struggle when the school holidays break up to water them. So this would be the perfect solution.
Absolutely.
So these aren't available, I don't think, in England, but maybe they will be eventually. So how does this work then? This is a plastic moulded square. That's what it comes in. So how exactly does that work?
So what happens is the water is underneath. So underneath here is just water that goes through these little slits in the...
So this is on the bottom of your container.
Yep, so
yeah.
all the containers have to be lined and watertight.
Yeah.
These sit in the bottom, the water travels in through the little slits in the bottom. We fill the legs full of perlite, a really fine grade perlite, which then pulls the water up through capillary rise, and then your soil goes on top. And then the holes in it are there so that you can see that it allows all the extra moisture just to drain away.
Right, so that's almost recycling the water in a way.
So if we do get rain in winter, a wicking bed then becomes also a rainwater tank. So the excess water goes through the soil, drains down, is collected into the bottom of the reservoir until it fills up. It just keeps collecting the water.
Okay, simple as that really. And what sort of depth of compost or soil would you put above that to be
You
effective?
can go as high as 40, 45 centimetres. I mean, I've seen people go more. We usually stick sort of around the 30 to 40 centimetres because that's where most of your edible plants are happy. You don't need much more than that.
Right. So taking me back to my college days, I'm not a scientist, you are, Mark. So that is then the water goes up, it's called capillary lift, isn't it? It sort of just goes up through the fine particles of soil.
Yep, absolutely. So the distance that it can travel depends on the soil.
Right.
Finer soil will enable you to do so. If you've got coarse, chunky potting mix, you probably won't get a lot of capillary rise.
No.
So it needs to be, it needs to have a lot of water holding capacity to start with, but not too much.
And I suppose the roots are going to grow down towards that moisture anyway, aren't they, at the end of the day? Yep. So when you first plant, I mean, you've got some courgettes in here, which are looking absolutely amazing. I don't know what variety it is, but they look really, really good ones. So they've got several plants in there. When you first put them in as small plants, do you have to water them initially to get them started, to get the roots growing?
Yeah, I guess it's a, in that aspect, it's not that much different to a normal raised garden bed, is that the plants need to establish their roots to begin with. Once they've done it, you'll see straight away is the plant will go from sitting there looking at you to all of a sudden growing, and you know that if there's above ground growth, there's below ground growth.
Yes. And what about topping it up? Because you've obviously got to keep that reservoir at the bottom fairly full. Do you top up on a weekly basis or something? Or
so it's one of those ones where the question is how long is a piece of string? So at this time of the year we use more water, so we probably get down to weekly watering, only because we have really thirsty zucchinis in here. Oh, sorry, courgettes.
Courgettes, zucchinis, yes, we're in Australia.
But if for things like your tomato plants and other plants that don't use as much water, they could get into sort of 2 to 3 weeks between watering, refilling the reservoirs. Yeah.
So everything in this garden where we are is grown in a wicking bed. So we've got corn, we've got zucchini, we've got tomatoes, we've got potatoes, even we've got this amazing fig growing over there. You can pretty much grow anything in it.
Absolutely. There's even a banana hidden over in the corner.
Oh, really? Yes.
Kiwi
we don't
fruit.
grow many of those in England, but
everything. We've slowly over the time, I've just taken everything that was in ground and just slowly built up. So even the raspberries now are in a wicking bed. There's some blueberries hidden in the corner. The only thing that grows in the ground in the veggie patch is all the self-seeded plants that we allow to grow.
Yeah, which is good for the pollinators, isn't it? Yeah. So it is an amazing system, and because it's not just for vegetables, is it?
No, we grow everything and anything now. We used to be really good at putting pots on the front veranda and then forgetting to water them. Yeah. So now we put, a lot of our ornamentals just go into them. Trees.
And
roses.
I noticed you've got some plastic beds around the side. They're also on a wicking bed system?
That's also a wicking bed system.
Right. So that's just bought as a trough essentially.
Yep.
Yeah. And works exactly the same way.
Yep.
Yeah. Good. So can we go and look at some of the ornamental plants that you're growing in them, just to give us some ideas of the sort of variations that you can use? So we'll have after you, Claire.
Sure.
Thank you. Even rhubarb growing in it, look.
Yeah.
There's even an avocado over the corner as well.
So here we've got fruit trees growing in. I mean, these are citrus trees, but so you can grow literally any sort of tree in these pots as well.
We definitely can. I love trying to grow all different varieties of fruit trees in them. And what I love about it is that, one, they grow well because they're in a self-watering wicking pot, but also it keeps them small, so you don't end up with a ginormous tree.
Yeah, and these are specifically made wicking pots. These aren't something you've converted, are they?
No, these are off-the-shelf wicking pots.
Right, okay. So in Australia, these are readily available.
Yes.
And probably other parts of the world as
Absolutely,
well.
Yeah.
So it's exactly the same principle.
It's got the same cell in it. It's just got one of them, so it's the smallest one we can make out of these cells, and it's same sort of idea. It's got 17 litres of water in it. Holds about 45 litres of soil, and you can see that the plants are absolutely flourishing in them.
And how long do you think you'll be able to keep them in those pots?
I'm hoping for several years before I have to. If I have to pull them out and give them a root prune and put them back down again, that's doable.
Yeah.
But so far, the oldest one is probably a mulberry tree around the corner. It's been in there for nearly 4 years.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The pomegranate is about 3.
Yeah, that's a big plant. You've got an apricot there as well, by the look of it.
Yeah, we've got a few apricots this year. The citrus produced wonderfully. These 3 oranges, 2 Valencia and 1 Washington, and they produced wonderful fruit this year.
Wow. Do they stay out all year round here, or do you have
They
to?
do.
Right, so you don't have to put them in, even though you do get some frost. They survive that little bit of frost. Okay.
They survive. They don't. They're not overly happy with the temperature, but
No.
they seem to survive.
Yeah. Yeah, I always think citrus are tougher than you think. We've got some, we put them in a cold greenhouse, a lime tree, and it gets through, it has done touch wood for the last 7 or 8 years and got through with fleece over it, keep it on the dry side. But I just love the fact that everything that's grown in these wicking pots and wicking beds looks so lush and healthy.
Oh, they're thriving.
So, yeah.
I love it.
So what, you've got a mulberry. I want to see the mulberry because mulberries are wonderful. Oh, I see, right, yeah. Look at it. So
I
there.
keep pruning it back, so there's probably
Yeah.
a little bit of fruit on there still.
Yeah. I think it's a really clever system, isn't it? So it is literally sky's the limit.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I haven't found anything yet that I can't grow in one of these, other than climate-dependent ones.
Yes.
But
yeah.
you've already seen there's a banana down the back. There's avocado, kiwi fruit, passion fruit. I seem to want to grow everything and anything. So, and a wicking bed just makes my life so much easier.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, with all the planting you've got, if you were watering, you'd be out an awful lot, wouldn't you, with a hose pipe? So, right, we need to go and look at these roses now then. Claire, I
Yes.
gather you are the ornamental gardener here, and we're standing in front of this wonderful bed of beautiful plants. Just tell us a little bit about this one.
Yeah, so we only planted this one out in August last year.
Wow.
It has a collection of various roses. We've got some lamb's ear, sweet williams. We've got some bulbs in there, so some gladioli, some irises as well. A few other bits and bobs. Yeah.
I mean, it is very much, looks like an English cottage garden,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. And I'm amazed how well the roses all over South Australia, when we've been driving around, they just flourish so well.
Yeah.
I think because you get the dry summers, they probably do
Yes.
better than we get sometimes in England.
They don't get as much
They don't get
that
the rain on them.
mildew
Yeah,
and,
they look really well.
disease
And
from
this,
the moisture. Yeah.
it's the same principle. So in this raised bed, it is still a wicking system.
Correct, yes. Yep.
And then we've got the same frames in the base.
Yep.
And what sort of soil compost mix do you use? Because these are plants that are going to be in here permanently rather than your veg, which is just a one
Yep.
season. So it's
Yep.
got to have something with a bit of oomph in it, hasn't it?
Yeah,
really?
well,
So we use a specific wicking mix.
Right.
So it actually has, it's designed specifically for wicking beds, but you can grow anything in
Yes.
it. I guess when you put a perennial in it, we can't then dig the compost back through like we can with the veggie garden. So then you have to do a bit more top dressing on it. But it has plenty of water holding capacity and plenty of fertilisers in it, so it just works.
Yeah, no, I mean, it shows if they've only been planted a matter of 6 months, really, isn't it? Not
Yeah,
quite 6
yeah.
months from new. I mean, it looks really, really well established. And I'm just looking at the side here. We've got, presumably this is where you fill it up, is it? Here?
yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So-
We've got 2 inlets.
Right, and that tells us how much water we've got in it.
Yeah. Yes, that's our water levels
It's just
indicator.
it just goes down and
Oh, I see,
just
right.
drop it down and the little float goes up.
Right, so as long as that
It's
little
poking
bit
up a
is
bit.
sticking up, you've got water in there, so it
Yeah.
tells you. So this is a new bed, so are you finding that you can get, again, about a week's worth out of this?
A lot
The
more.
beauty of this one is because it's perennials, they don't use as much water as those
Right.
fast-growing veggies. We can go for several weeks without actually, before the heat hit, we were going for several weeks. Now we're down to probably 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Right, really?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of water under each of those cells is 17 litres,
Yeah.
Mark? Yeah, so 17 litres of water under each one of those
Wow.
cells. So there's a lot of water holding capacity in there.
And I noticed there's a bit of plumbing at the bottom. Is that so you can drain it off if you need to?
No, that's
Or is
just
that an
that's an overflow.
Oh, I see. So
So
if you got really heavy rain and it filled up, that
Yep.
would,
Yep.
so it maintains that level.
It means you can't overfill it. So one of the critical parts of it is between the reservoir and the soil, there's an air gap, so
Right.
that the soil can always drain away the extra
Right,
moisture.
I'm with you. Yeah. So it is an amazing system. heard about it, haven't seen it in the flesh till we came here. And I think it just will revolutionise growing if we can just get this into England. You don't fancy starting a, Adelaide Hills Veggie Gardens UK brand, do you?
I'm sure there's ways of means of getting some over there.
I think if this got into the flower shows and the garden centres, it would really sell. So yeah, we ought to patent it. This is your idea. So yes, good. Thank you for letting us have a look around. It's been fascinating to see just how much you can grow in the garden, and it all looks so really good. We're going to try something in our garden when we go home for this summer. I'm going to mock something up. I know we can't get the frames, but I'm going to have a go at doing something to see if we can get the results like you've got here. Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, there you go. There's the proof in the pudding. Look at that for a courgette. So thank you for watching. Hope that's given you some real good ideas and inspiration to try and get some wicking beds for yourself. We'll be back again with you next week, so we'll see you then. Bye.